get into one of my cars, you get in the win.
I'm Chris Sasaki, Creative Director for Forza Motorsport. We are bringing new racing dynamics, visual fidelity, and gameplay detail to every track. This includes weather, 24-hour day-night cycles, and track evolution. More tracks are coming to Forza Motorsport after our launch on October 10th, including past favorites and brand new challenges to keep the competition fresh and exciting. We can't wait to share more. See you at the starting line.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
Hey, this is Matt Hagan, three-time Funny Car World Champion, and you're watching Drafting the Circus.
Drivers! It's NASCAR Cup Series playoffs from Talladega Super Speedway, the Yellawood 500. They come through the trial, and again, a little uniqueness about this racetrack is the start-finish line. It is past the center of the trial. So they're going through the trial now as we get ready for them to go up through the gears and start the race here at Talladega. Green flag is out. Green. It's like a train coming up to speed as the engine churning out the horsepower to get these cars up to speed. Down the backstretch they go, 2 by 2.
It takes nearly a full lap to get to full speed. These engines are restricted down to 450 horsepower, so it takes a little bit of time to get some momentum. Very, very organized to start.
So many times we see manufacturers working together, Fords with Fords, Chevys with Chevys. Well, right now at the start of this race, you've got to dance whoever you have come with.
That's really where a crew chief can help. You know, the drivers can only really do so much. As a crew chief, you have to kind of put your driver in a position to find his teammates or find his manufacturers. Do that by how you pit, when you pit, how many tires you take. And already you see that pushing and shoving that Jeff and Dale talked about, and the bumpers and how they line up as we're on board with Denny Hamlin and the Coca-Cola Zero Sugar cameras. He gives Ryan Blaney a little shove.
Blaney takes that momentum, transfers it to the car just in front of him.
One in front of Ryan.
You hear that information? That's Denny's spotter actually telling him what's in front of Ryan Blaney. So as you're pushing a car, not only do you want the information from behind, but you can't see, like pull up behind a car on the interstate, you can't see up in front.
Way too far out front now, no help behind him. See Larson sitting there on that inside, like, oh, Blaney almost got pushed around by William Byron.
Pit road is closed, 2 laps to go in the stage. Cindric and Stenhouse Jr. continue to fight for the lead up front here at Talladega.
4 cars right here in front of them. Going to go a lap down. They're really slow as this track runs up on them. Luckily going to the top of the racetrack, giving them plenty of room on the bottom. And B.J. McLeod just all the way to the top of the track. Smart move. Now they're catching Carson Hosa for Marty.
Marty.
Rick, we saw Chase Briscoe up in the middle of all this earlier, but they did not get it full on the first stop of the day. He had to pit just a moment ago, and they also are concerned with the 14 car. He might have a fuel pickup issue. He's in 34th.
Austin Cindric has Carlin. Here comes the 12. Ryan Blaney. And Blaney needs the points. Austin Cindric falling back in the middle.
8-car Busch is in the wall.
Contact made. The one of Ross Chastain goes around. He tags the wall. There was contact made between the 8 and the 1. And Ryan Blaney, under caution, is going to win stage 1 here at Talladega.
Huge issue for Chastain. No stage points and a torn up race car. This could be the end of the day for him.
There's the end of the stage. Ryan Blaney gets the win in stage 1, which is 10 stage points.
Little contact right there. But look at that outside line, the middle groove, the outside line, all losing several spots with the way the lap cars are forcing them to go around the top.
So they fan out as trying to get some type of
Christopher Bell goes to the inside. He bails out of this whole thing.
He didn't think he could get stage points.
We're not scoring points. We'll work on it at the stage at this.
Yeah, there you go. We can't get stage points. Let's don't get in the wreck. Let's don't take a bad situation and make it worse.
One more time around here in stage 2. It's Byron up front, but now the aggression will start. Those stage points, very important. Keselowski, Reddick, Larson, Truex Jr., all right there in striking distance to get points here in stage 2.
Keselowski in 3rd. Reddick back in 7th.
Keselowski jumped to the outside, trying to get on the outside of William Byron.
Block both, back to the bottom.
He's going to clear. Nobody helping that 24 on the inside.
Will Keselowski be able to hold on and get the stage win?
Big run coming. Will the 3 stay committed?
You're 3 top, 3 top, 3 top.
The 24 slows the 3 down, but here comes the push, the 14 and the 3.
Through the tri-oval and the race back to the finish line. Keselowski's going to get it. He'll win stage 2. Byron, Logano, Dillon, Elliott, top 5. Suarez, Briscoe, Larson, Ty Dillon, and Tyler Reddick.
Now he's going to let this 4 car in front of him. He's lifting a little bit, allowing Kevin Harvick to be able to get clear. As soon as he's clear, the 4 is going to go to the inside.
Oh, we got wreck in the back.
Got a big crash.
They're sliding behind as it went across the start-finish line. The caution has come out. Keselowski's involved in it. You see him hit the inside wall. Big damage, it looks like, to Austin Dillon. In the 3, Brad Keselowski, playoff driver. There's the 3 of Dillon. Let's take a look at what happens. Carson Hocevar on the outside line.
Getting a push from Brad Keselowski here through the tri-oval. And it just turns that 42 sideways. Oh, man, massive, massive impact for the outside wall, the 54 and the 3. The 3 somewhat lessened a little bit of that blow when he collects the 6 as well, but hard hit for the 54.
Right along with Buscher.
Check. Left, if you can. Left. Come down straight. Just brake. Push him straight forward. All right, you're clear straight forward. They're still wrecking up.
You know, we talk about pushing and how important it is, but Brad Keselowski has caused a lot of wrecks front.
Caution has come out. There's some debris on the backstretch that NASCAR has seen. They want to make sure to clear that. For another restart, as we heard on the radio right away. Save fuel, save fuel.
Fuel isn't really that slow going in, just they're looking for every 10th of a second. So they're really kind of trying to take advantage of everything as we see the piece of debris kind of get.
It's getting bounced around now back there.
Maybe carbon fiber or some body paneling.
Under 2 laps to go.
But again, will Herbst be aggressive enough to be able to help this 12 get back toward the front of the field, back into the lead? Is he going to push Blaney hard enough down these straightaways to be able to clear this 12?
The third line hasn't moved, but now gaining. Another car, we'll see if they can go. Side drafting happening up front. Blaney on the high side, Harvick on the inside. Through the trial will they go. 1 lap to go. Presented by Credit One Bank.
Oh, he almost spun the 12. Herbst into the back of Blaney.
That cleared Harvick. Harvick is clear of the 12. Now he's got to have to block both lanes.
The 12's going to have a little momentum here. I think Harvick can hop back in front of the 12. Big run coming. The 12 to the inside.
Shuffles the 4 out. Now Blaney and Harvick down the backstretch for the final time and into turn 3. Blaney with a push from the 24 of Byron. Here comes Harvick on the outside. Can the 36 get to the back bumper of the 4 and give him a big push? Momentum coming. They're side by side through the tri-oval. Blaney, Harvick, Blaney, Harvick. They spin behind him. It's going to be Blaney.
Yes!
Blaney gets the win at Talladega. Drivers have won those 5 races.
Hey race fans, thanks for watching our video. For all NASCAR on Fox News, content, and the best clips from Fox Sports, be sure to follow and subscribe to our channel.
Drivers, start your
Good evening, race fans. Welcome to the Hoopsy Radio Network. Welcome to the Drafting the Circus program. My name is Frank Santorowski. I'll be your host for the next hour as Luis Torres and I discuss everything racing. Luis, how are you tonight, buddy?
Not too bad for being a 29-year-old now.
Okay, yeah. I remember seeing 29 waving by it as it went by. So anyway, Richard Uden off on assignment. Richard actually out in Phoenix doing some testing with Toyota, and Levi also not available tonight. So just you and me, Louise, and we'll start off as we always do by sponsoring or mentioning the sponsors. First off, Luis Torres, Multimedia. Are you related to that guy?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that guy could appreciate any form of donations or backing support for the business to keep themselves alive. Otherwise, it could end up like I don't know. That little race team, I think. The one is closing down. That closed down not that long ago. You can pick and choose whichever team that might be, but you know, it's important for financial stability to have fundings and backing. LuisDTorres.com, by the way. LuisDTorres.com.
Okay, there you go. All right. So also Forza Motorsport Xbox, that game comes out October 10th. So that's coming up next week. we'll go ahead and get to play that. I know my friend Keith has already got him an Xbox on the way, and he's gonna play that live, and he's gonna let me know all about it. And I probably won't do it because I'm a horrible gamer.
And I don't have an Xbox, and I rarely play games these days.
Yep. Also, the Ferrari movie that comes out at Christmas, starring Adam Driver and Alzheimer's Association, Ryan Blaney for early detection. So, anyway, speaking of Ryan Blaney, he had a good weekend in Talladega. Came home with the win at the Yellawood 500. Pretty decent race. I'm not 100% sold on the 450 horsepower package on the super speedways, but it certainly keeps the racing close like it did during the restrictor plate days. But Team Penske needed this, because you're talking, they haven't had a win since early in the season. Logano's already out of the playoffs. Cindric missed the playoffs. Blaney was right there in danger of getting cut in this section of the playoffs, and he pulled out the win. Really close win there over Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick, who hasn't seen a checkered flag in a while either. Kind of heartbreaking for Kevin Harvick. And then obviously the next morning,
insult to injury.
Disqualified. So now Louise, we're hearing the disqualification was for improperly installed or improperly attached windshield, not just at one point, but on several points. I'm like, how do we miss something like that?
It's hard to tell, but it's just one of those things where NASCAR sees it probably as an aerodynamic advantage. I mean, look no further to the classic tale of bumper gate, where people want to admit that Gary Nelson finessed the bumper on purpose to get a competitive edge for Bobby Allison to win in 82 or not. But they saw the issue, and then Rodney Shoulders usually explained what happened, and Stewart-Haas decided they will not appeal it. It's a shame for Harvick because he's on his way out. And to add insult to injury, he missed the next round. This was probably his last chance of going for the win of his Cup career, to get that 61st Cup win, to come up 12 1,000ths of a second short, then get disqualified over something where it's properly uninstall the windshield, because you never know what kind of error will go in there. If it's improperly installed, you could gain a little competitive edge, and that's what NASCAR is trying to shy away. And
I want to say that's probably a huge safety issue. That windshield flaps loose and goes flying down the track. That's a large piece of debris to smack into somebody else's car behind you.
And I'm not sure how much severity compared to a tungsten, where you saw what the severity can do to it if it goes through a windshield, like what happened with Jamie Dick in the Xfinity session at Iowa, where somebody's piece flew off, destroyed the windshield as plexiglass, I believe.
Yeah.
Cannot imagine how if it was back in the early 90s where they were still using kind of some glass windshield, but a different form where it's not that shattered.
Well, the safety glass is what they call that. They still use that in passenger car windshields now. Like if you were to go to your car and hit your windshield with a baseball bat, it would shatter, but it wouldn't break through. But if you hit your the window on your door, it would, glass would be everywhere. So
yeah, and you see what these cars can do at 190 to 200 miles an hour.
Not that I have any experience of hitting windshields with baseball bats. Let's not read anything into that.
No, but it's just a tough situation for Harvick. Just the ongoing misery of Stewart-Haas racing this season, where it seems like they get good points, but they cannot execute it. Or in this case, something slipped through the cracks and it cost them, for them being the first disqualified driver among the National Touring Series since Keselowski and Martinsville 2022. So we've been disqualification free for a while until now.
We've had a lot of fines and these sort of things, but it's been a minute since we've seen just a straight up DQ. So especially to lose a second place, which it's at the end of the day, since he's already eliminated from the playoffs, it's meaningless anyway. But it's still on his overall career stats, gives him a last place instead of a second place. So You know, so plus he probably drop a few spots in the end of season payout as well. So, but yeah, I bet Harvick is just dying for this season to be over.
Yeah, hey, he's at the I'm so over it phase. He's just gonna
exactly, yeah.
He just can't wait to help Keelan and do the races on Fox at this point. And then when the Fox season is done, he can focus on Keelan probably to an open wheel career, because that's what it still sounds like. That's the pursuit that Keelan may go.
Yeah, that'd be cool, right? Keelan Harvick in the Indy 500 in another 10, 12 years.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Keelan run international races. Like, the goal is to maybe try to get him the junior Formula 1 level. Who knows?
You know, you never know. You know, we haven't had a decent American in Formula 1 in a long time. We've had some okay ones, you know what I mean? Logan Sargent's certainly not setting the world on fire. Neither did Scott Speed. Rossi probably
never really had a fair share because he only had those couple races.
Yeah, I was going to say
he
was in the the very bottom feeder of the team. So, but yeah, we haven't had a really decent guy in Formula 1 since Mario, and that's that's almost a half a century ago. So,
but no, going back to Talladega, like this, you don't see like this win meant a lot to Blaney to the point that he did burnouts, which he never does.
Yeah,
because I was thinking when somebody brought up, oh, he did a burnout, I didn't think much of it. It's like, oh, Blaney doing a burn. Then I remember Coke 600, he didn't do a burnout, which was, I think, Blaney's last win up until that point, up until Sunday, was the 600. So it kind of shows you how long ago it's been for Penske to win. Like you alluded to, Logano being out, Cindric nowhere near to be found.
Cindric actually had a pretty decent run Sunday. I want to say he led some laps. I want to say he ended the day 5th. Which is it's kind of par for the course because the Fords and the Penske's in general have been pretty good on the restricted plate races.
Yeah, they've been good. I mean, Riley Herbst was a strong car for front row, and it looked like at one point, if something were to happen, he might have had a chance. But consider this was his Ford Cup start. He's not setting the world on fire. This was honestly his best showing on merit, because it was almost basically merit based that he played a role in helping Blaney win, as he gave credit to the Xfinity veteran for helping him out for the win, because he was working with his technical teammate, because Riley is the Stewart-Haas driver in Xfinity.
Yeah.
But he went with Blaney because Blaney went through the crossover, and then he was pretty much drafting Blaney for a good period. No, was it Harvick? It was Harvick, but Harvick was just pulling away from Riley. And Riley could have had a top 5, but then Corey LaJoie got into Riley and ultimately cost the big one. And what was otherwise, like, once again, Cup drivers are getting it together in the sense of we don't see stupid wrecks that will send to 5 overtimes, multiple red flags. We just had a full race distance, which is rare for the Cup Series these days.
Yeah. Usually we have a little extra. Gosh, I remember some races at Daytona. What was the one we had? We had the rain. The same one where Ryan Newman was injured.
Yeah, the one that was there for 20 laps.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I think it was almost 1 a.m. when that race finished up. So, but yeah, overall pretty clean Talladega race as far as Talladega race. Now we did see early incident between Ross Chastain and Kyle Busch, which has the net effect of that is that those are the two guys 11th and 12th in the point standings right now. And of course, we're cutting, 9, 10, 11, and 12 are cut after the Roval. So the other two guys, 9th and 10th, are Reddick and Bubba Wallace. So those are the 4 guys below the cut line. Keselowski's right above the cut line, not by much. So
barely, because of the big wreck that saw Austin Dillon and Ty Gibbs collected. Keselowski caught a little bit of air. Fortunately, he didn't tumble and landed on his wheels.
Yeah.
But that was not a good scenario for him, because I still feel like Keselowski could be a dark horse for the championship Same with Buescher, but
yeah,
that wreck did not do RFK any good favors from being in that mix, because had that wreck not happened, I still felt like they would have been in that mix, and I had Keselowski as a pick to win it, honestly.
Yeah, Keselowski he ran good all day, and again, like I said it before, and I'll say it again. My dark horse pick for the championship is Chris Buescher.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but we're coming up to the Roval, and if you look at the guys below the cut line, right? Reddick is probably okay on road courses, but I don't really see him getting through this round.
Okay, on road courses. I'd say he has the best chance of the ones outside looking in because he's got a couple road courses with sure the Roval is a different animal, but I wouldn't count him out, at least.
Okay.
But I get to your point that Reddick has not necessarily set the world on fire in a while either.
Yeah, and neither has his teammate Bubba Wallace. Bubba did have a really good run recently that ended him not winning that race, but now he's below the cut line. Chastain,
he's been a disappointment. He's in the
after all the wins he pulled out of his butt last year, this year he has been kind of just meh.
Trackhouse has been in a weird scenario where they broke through a year ago. They looked pretty promising in the beginning, but after a while, they've just been all the talk about Trackhouse is just Shane Van Gisbergen, and that's it.
Yeah, it's almost like they're experiencing the sophomore slump, even though it's not quite their sophomore season. They've been around, but but it's almost like that they had, their coming out party last year, and this year, they really haven't had much to go on. And then, of course, the last guy there, Kyle Busch, who, this guy was strong at the beginning of the year, but then he's kind of backed off since then. So, but Kyle again has the ability to win at nearly every track on the schedule. So that's a guy you don't want to count out at the Roval. Kyle's a pretty good road racer. Kyle's a pretty good racer anywhere, but whether or not RCR gives him the car that he'll need to compete with the guys like the Byrons and the Chases and the Bushers and them, the guys up at the top of the points. So it'll be interesting to see. Do we have any ringers showing up?
Not that I recall. This one, I haven't heard much about road ringers, to be honest with you. But to go back to Kyle Busch a little bit, I think it's
Mike,
put a fork in it. Oh yeah, Rockefeller. Yeah.
Rockefeller is gonna be running for Legacy. Yeah, so
that's about it from what I've heard. But
I haven't heard any, Van Ginsberg or anybody else coming over.
I think Van Ginsberg Bathurst is coming soon, so
that's gonna
in a week or two. Or this week, for that matter. I don't know. This is where Richard can help us here.
Yeah, that's a big event for people down under. That's, Bathurst is huge. You know what I mean? It's like, it's like Indy 500 for us, for the, people down under. So, all right. So,
Yeah, I feel like it's for Kyle Busch. It's just had rotten luck and more worse than Martin Truex Jr. in the first round. So, and this one, it might be a tough one. And I look at Kyle Busch as he's in the Seattle Mariners in September phase. Looked good for a period of time, and now, where is he? And Bathurst is in 3 days this weekend.
There you go.
That's
right.
Why. So that's why Angie and Brody are not in this one in the Roval.
These Seattle Mariners, it could be worse. It could be, New York Giants since they hired Daniel Jones.
That was a travesty. The fact that I don't want to say the Seahawks defense is back to its glory form. I have to wait and see.
But the Giants suck, So, oh man, okay, we'll save that for our football podcast. So, who do you like for the Roval?
Let's see. I think Truex gets it together. I think Truex could get it together this weekend. It's been a minute. And if he's going to show his worth that, hey, despite all the circumstances that has happened, I'm still here.
Yeah.
Because he's been MIA in the playoffs since these wrecks. And then also, we won't dive into that story because we talked about it a few weeks back. I think Truex is just focusing on the racing. If he could get a win, it would be huge and it'll boost morale for that 19 team that they sorely need.
Yeah. And speaking of people that are MIA, I like to pick Chase Elliott for the Roval. This guy's been a minute since he's even been in contention to win a race.
It's been a few weeks. It's been since like about a month and a half ago he was in the mix, and he's also trying to get to the owners playoff round of 8 because
yeah, that's just as important for those team owners.
Unless you're Dale Jr., he does not care. But there's still people.
Yeah, but there's money on there's money on the line for those guys that own the teams. Yeah. If Junior would buy him a cup team, he would care. Trust me.
Yeah, he probably will. It's just like give it time. But yeah, you still have that because remember the 9 car is in this owners round of 12. The 23 team is not. Because they didn't make the owners playoffs. Yeah.
It's a little confusing there. Yep. So anyway, so let's talk about this truck race, okay? Which Brad Moffitt won the race. But all anybody's talking about is the fist fight after the race involving Matt Crafton and Nick Sanchez. And then the setup to that was a huge wreck on the track there that took out, I want to say 18, 20 trucks. We're all spinning and crashing. And then
sent one to the hospital, and Greg Van Alst, who I just feel very bad for him. You win ARCA Daytona, and then you get wrecked, and you have shown no momentum. Most of it, if not all of it, most of it, none of his own doing. And that whole people are glossing over this. Would that brawl happen? It said that wreck sent somebody to the freaking hospital.
Yeah.
And Greg Van Alst.
Then Matt Craven tried to send Nick Sanchez to the hospital. But I'll tell you, if you saw that little clip there, I would have played the clip, except the F word's in there a few more times than the FCC likes for us to put on the show here. But
we can backmatch it old school hip hop style.
Yeah, but he bloodied up Sanchez pretty good. It looked like one of those, like if you recall, if you ever watched like wrestling in the 70s, like regional wrestling, where the guys would take blades and cut their foreheads so blood runs all down their face. That's what Sanchez looked like. But still yelling and cursing and said, "I'm going to kill you when we get to Homestead." So these guys were pretty hot.
Yeah, that's probably why Sanchez got fined for that remark.
Yeah. So but the funny thing is, Sanchez and Crafton, neither one suspended, although they suspended. Was it Crafton's dad or Sanchez's dad? One of the guy's dad they suspended.
I have no clue.
I think it was Crafton's dad. But yeah, the drivers were fined but not suspended. So,
and I mean, somebody said that some erroneous comments said that Jimmy Spencer should sue NASCAR because he got suspended. Here's the thing: some formats where it's not 2003 anymore. Like, I mean, Kyle Busch or Logano didn't get suspended for a brawl. Austin Hill didn't get suspended for pretty much decking, I believe. Who was it? Kligerman, or I forget who he.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon and Keselowski didn't get suspended for fighting after Texas at one time.
Yeah, neither did Gordon and Boyer in 2012.
Yeah. So, Jimmy Spencer. I mean, what does he have to gain by suing over something that happened, decades ago?
Yeah,
this is as bad as freaking Felipe Massa trying to become the 2008 champion.
Hey, here's the only plus side is that a Nico Rosberg Williams win would be in the cards, but that's a different story for another time. Because he finished second in that race. So imagine if they reverse the results for whatever reason, which I highly doubt they will. Then Rosberg's first win would be in Singapore in a Williams.
There you go. All right. So,
but the thing about Sanchez and Crafton is it's just like very short track late model brawls where it's like it's one thing that you like Logano and Kyle Busch where that was like a brawl. It's like they just went at it. That one was just like in Sanchez's eyes, Crafton sucker punched him. Like, come on, you're twice as the age gap is 47 to 20 something. Cut that nonsense off. It could have been much worse if Corey Roper wasn't there. Corey Roper was obviously the hero of this whole thing because he kept for Sanchez from probably doing something worse because he was in the heat of the moment. He was just holding him back and all that jazz. But it's just ridiculous. And for Crafton to be in that scenario,
Yeah, he should know. He should know better. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
it's absolutely. It's like the bad side of late model racing on a short track. It could have been worse. It could have been those brawling in it destroyed another car, like the one fight in Martinsville for the Martinsville 300, where there were crew members were brawling, and it damaged somebody's car that had nothing to do with the madness.
Yeah, and speaking of crew members, there was an incident during the race there where one of the trucks spun in the pits and hit the crew member. Yeah, that was the guy went right over the tail of the truck. That was a pretty scary moment.
Yeah, and I think from what I gather, Fox were trying to interview him in the truck. It's like, no, there's a time and place for it. They could have waited after the race, because at that point it's like Zane is in huge trouble in the sense of he may not make it to the championship 4 and defend his title. He's in a deep hole going into Homestead.
Yeah,
in a couple weeks, because that's the cutoff race. And right now, the only one that is in the championship 4 is Corey Heim for winning. What race was it? It was a while back. I can't remember at the top of my head. But Corey Heim is the only one in the championship 4 right now.
There you go.
So you got 3 spots to go. But for Sanchez, I think the mindset is you just go out there and try to win. It's going to be challenging because he's not really been in the mix of wins all year. But tied for tough. As for Crafton, repulsive. It's just like there's a way to go about it. And Corey Roper is the real MVP for at least try to de-escalate the whole madness from going much worse.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on. Let's talk about Michael Andretti, because he's I've got him in 2 different news stories, one in Formula One and one in Indycar. So let's start with the Formula One. So it's been pretty well publicized that the FIA rejected all of the bids for new Formula One teams except for the one that was put forth by Andretti Global and General Motors Cadillac. So they have crossed the first hurdle that's necessary to become a Formula One team. Now, I mean, does this mean they're a Formula One team? No. The bigger hurdle is to convince the FOM, Formula One management, this being the other teams, the commercial value of adding another team. Now, obviously, I think Andretti's got to pony up the dilution fee, which is $200 million per team, right? So he's got to give $200 million to each of the other 10 teams. Or is it just 200 million total? I don't know. Richard would know these things.
Yeah, it's good that they made that progress. But how many teams have we seen, like, they get the approval and then they never capitalize on it, or they come close, like USF1 did in the early 2010s when I think, who was it? They had somebody from Argentina, but it's also kind of like half American to be in that team, but that never materialized because the team never got it together when Peter Windsor was trying to form a team. And
yeah, there's a couple that have come and gone, but I think Andretti's got plenty of backing.
Yeah,
between General Motors and the Gamebridge, of course. People kind of undersell how much money Gamebridge is sitting on, but it's in the neighborhood of like 40 billion is what they're worth. Gamebridge
are putting mad money. Look, that's probably why Spire is growing and growing, and why Kyle Busch gave up his assets of the truck team to Spire for that Gamebridge money.
I still wonder if there's some kind of connection with Andretti going to be a part owner of Spire at one point in time with the Gamebridge connection, but that's not what we're here to talk about.
Yeah,
because we talked about that last week. But yeah, so he's got to get the approval of the other Formula One teams, right? He's got at least one ally out there in McLaren, and Zach Brown is on Michael's side. Lance Stroll, probably the most vocal of guys that don't want another team in F1. Lawrence Stroll, rather, Daddy, like, Papa Stroll, Aston Martin.
Why would it be against? So you never know. Maybe Aston Martin want to move on, and then there's that Andretti. Like, oh, we can join Andretti. I will not be surprised if it comes down to that. Like, they're saying all this stuff, and then Lance is out of a ride, and then Andretti has an opening, and then we'll take the money and then use him. It's like, you never know.
Yeah, but I mean, Lawrence Stroll, he's been pretty vocal. They don't want, and his contention is that Formula One is very healthy, very strong right now. A lot of money, a lot of eyeballs on the series. 3 races in the United States. They feel they've got the correct coverage and scope they need. They're very happy with it. And his, if it's not broke, why fix it, right? Of course, you ask me, he's throwing Andretti and Cadillac in there only can add to it, unless they fall flat on their face, which they probably will. They won't be competitive right off the bat. That's not to say they're never going to get there, but if you look at Haas, how many years has Haas been in there now?
They've been, I think this is their
about
8th
6 seasons,
season.
eight seasons, right? They're still bottom feeding. You know what I mean? They've got, I think, one pole to their credit.
Yeah, which was Magnussen at a sprint race.
Yep. So, I'm interested to see how it plays out, but it's gonna be a big hurdle for Andretti, because I'm pretty sure Mercedes and Red Bull are against it. But Ferrari probably don't want them in there. So yeah, it's gonna take a lot of convincing. Michael's gonna have to pull a lot of favors. I don't know,
I don't know. I feel like I think Michael will have to start showing up frequently in those races that doesn't clash with IndyCar, or even the Formula E races. Show up to him when you can. I think that would be, it's very small, but I think to their eyes, maybe it comes a long way that he shows up frequently. Like, okay, he's showing up frequently to the SF1 races, then he must be serious. We'll open the door.
Yeah.
You never know how these people are.
Yeah, I don't know what they're looking for, but what they're really looking for is them not having to split their money 11 ways. And they like splitting it 10 ways, Yeah. If they split it 11 ways, even if they get the dilution fee, they're still out money in the long run. Or are they? You know what I mean? If the sport's growing and growing, doesn't that mean there's more money to go around? I don't know. So I don't know what they want, but Andretti's put a lot of effort and a lot of money into this, and if it were to be all for naught, it would be a shame. So yeah, that be there where it lies. So the other bit of news surrounding Michael Andretti has to do with Romain Grosjean. Romain Grosjean, who was released by the Andretti team, is now seeking arbitration to protect his rights in a contract dispute. Although what I'm hearing, if I've read everything and understood everything correctly, around about in April, Andretti was pretty happy with Grosjean. He had like back-to-back podiums, I think, then, right? And they had drawn up a contract extension for him. And then I think they sent the contract to Grosjean's management people. And I want to say Grosjean signed it, sent it back to Andretti. And then after that, Romain Grosjean proceeded to crash in 3 races in a row, and then finished 25th in the one after that. And then never finish higher than 6th the rest of the year, and rack up a crash damage bill of, a ridiculous amount. So Andretti decided they opted not to sign the contract, which means there's no contract, right? So, because both parties would have had to sign it. So, but now Grosjean is going to arbitration too. And I don't know what he's trying to protect. I don't know if he's seeking a big cash settlement from Michael Andretti, because I don't feel like Andretti is blocking him from seeking employment elsewhere, if that's what he's trying to protect, or if he feels like that the decision was made late enough that it left him out of opportunities to look at other places where maybe those seats had filled up when he thought he was still good to come back to Andretti. So, but anyway, it's going to arbitrator. It's not to the stage of legislation yet. Arbitration could definitely lead to litigation, because all an arbitrator can do is make recommendations that nobody has to abide to them. You don't only if you agree to it. So, Louise, what are your thoughts on this? Other than that, Grosjean just need to get out of the damn sport.
Yeah, this has been the theme. This has been the year of the lawsuit. We're still hearing about Palou, and now we got this thing with Grosjean.
Well, what IndyCar needs to do, right? Because they keep talking they need a reality show, right? They get somebody like Judge Joe Brown or Judge Judy and just make a reality show out of all these lawsuits. Call it 100 lawsuits to Indy.
At this moment, it might as well be. We still hear more stuff about Palou. At this moment, he's going to be remembered for lawsuits than his dominant IndyCar in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
As for Grosjean, it's been a frustrating year, and he looked like, okay, when he signed to Andretti, all the hype was there. It's like, oh, he's going to be with a top team. He'll finally break through. DHL were willing to stick with him. Fell flat on the face of the earth after Long Beach. Those wrecks didn't help. DHL is gone. To where I'm curious what kind of sponsorship leverage Ericsson is going to bring to that team.
Ericsson's not bringing anything. He's signed to be a paid driver. Andretti's going to pony up the money for him.
Yeah, because we haven't heard anything about Husky Chocolate at this moment.
Well, here's
talking about Husky.
Yeah, here's the thing about Husky Chocolate, right? You know who the distributor for Husky Chocolate is, right?
Yeah.
Because I forgot his name. But he runs in NASCAR. He's the U.S. distributor for Husky Chocolate, and he's had that contract since late 2019 or 2020.
When he left Schmidt-Peterson, when he joined Ganassi, I think. Because I don't remember Ericsson.
No, the guy who's the what is his name? NASCAR guy that
you talking about Barrett?
Yes, Stan Barrett.
Yeah.
He's the U.S. distributor for Husky Chocolate, right? He got the contract to be the U.S. distributor for Husky Chocolate in late 2019, early 2020. As of now, Husky Chocolate is still not available in the United States. So literally this Stan Barrett has done nothing with this, right? So literally putting Husky Chocolate on an IndyCar to promote a product that Americans can't get.
It makes it worse that he won the 500. That sponsorship won the 500.
Yeah.
Makes it.
Yeah, but yeah, so they're literally not getting very much bang for their buck sponsoring the car, since it seems like the U.S. distribution deal has fallen through. Or they can't get it off the ground. I don't know what the deal is there, but I'm 99% confident you won't see a Husky Chocolate car in IndyCar on the 2024 grid.
It would not surprise me, which kind of shows you that Ericsson going in, a team willing to pay for Ericsson shows how much they value Ericsson on the grid.
I think Ericsson's a fine driver.
He's gotten better over year after year, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. He's come a long way from being, when he joined IndyCar, it's like, oh, he was just a backmarker Formula One driver, but he's gradually gotten better over time.
Yeah, but he's won on a couple different type race courses, you know. He's won a couple of, he's won the Indy 500, obviously, which really, you know, I mean, you can do nothing else in your career with the Indy 500 and suddenly you're a Hall of Famer. Just ask Eddie Cheever. He'll tell you that. So,
yeah, and at that point, like the most forgettable sponsor, I don't even know what the heck was the sponsor in 1990.
Rachel's Potato Chips.
Ah, thank you.
And they paid the team in potato chips.
That's
shit,
what
shit you not.
Yeah, that is that exactly. It's like, well, at least they have distribution compared to Husky Chocolate. But you get my point. As far as all the sponsorships that have won the race winning sponsorship cars in the 500, 99 onward. Well, no, actually, yeah, the Kenny Brackett was memorable, but it went away like after.
That was some sort of digital communications company, wasn't it?
I forget.
And then
Power Team or something.
Yeah, Power
Bessie
Team
had in this.
Yeah,
car.
It was Power Team, but they were like a electrical contractor or something. They were bought up by somebody else. It was literally Power Team. It sounds like an energy drink, but the power they're talking about is electricity supplied to your home.
Yeah, it's the Power Team and energy drink sponsorships in 1999. I think the only one that was there was Red Bull.
Red Bull, yeah.
With Sauber. But
Red Bull was on Cheever's car in the early IRL.
But when in 2002, when Scheckter made life difficult for Eddie, despite showing flashes of brilliance, could have won the 500 as a rookie had he not had that incident.
Yeah, but we didn't come here to talk about Eddie Cheever. We're talking about Ericsson. So.
But no, we were talking about Grosjean. I mentioned Ericsson. Like
that's true. We were talking about Grosjean. Yeah,
yeah, because I brought up DHL and then basically how people are perceiving it as Ericsson replacing Grosjean.
Yeah, so there's a middle grade rumor floating around. DHL is going to be on Palou's car next year with Ganassi.
Which will be big, and hopefully we don't hear lawsuits from them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But, I mean, if you want to associate yourself with a guy that wins a lot of races, there you go. So, you know, provided they get all the legal wranglings, you know, so hopefully all the DHL money doesn't go to Palou and then right to McLaren. So, because McLaren's looking to get what, $23 million is the last number I heard. Yeah, so that'll be fun.
But it shows you that the Ganassi McLaren rivalry is real. Just right now, Ganassi is winning the war because McLaren could not win a race last year.
Oh, true. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, this season, this past season that we just completed. But
Ganassi won a championship.
Yeah, they won, what was it, like 9 races? And then let's see, Penske, Ray Hall, and somebody else,
won a race.
Andretti.
Andretti won two races with Kirkwood, yeah. McLaren was shut out. Carpenter was shut out. Dale Coyne shut out again. Coyne hadn't won a race since he had Sebastian Bourdais around.
Yeah.
So
we'll see how Malukas does at McLaren.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see that. Yeah, because I think a lot. Because him and his teammate Stinger, their season was a train wreck this year. I mean, it's sure with both of them, you know. So
yeah, the speed differential between those two work night and day.
I know, right? All right, I had another IndyCar topic to discuss. I just have to go find it real quick.
But while he's looking at that, they were saying that, like, there was this post, like, if Andretti were to get approved for Formula One, which drivers would they have? A lot of people were saying Mario and Michael Andretti as a ha joke, but some people brought Kirkwood, and I thought to myself, well, Kirkwood's going to have to be real strong the next 2 to 3 years to be in a championship fight if he's going to go to Formula One.
Kirkwood's nowhere near a super license. I mean, and Herta's even farther away now than he was last year because his 2019 points dropped off. So, so here's my other topics for IndyCar. Technical alliance between McLaren and Juncos. So this probably helps Juncos stay afloat with the two cars because, you know, the sponsor money has been a little kind of few and far between. We see that just plain green Juncos car a lot on the track. I don't know if we'll have Argentina tourism kicking in again to keep Canapino on the team. That none of that has been announced. I don't know if you're going to see Callum Ilott on that team. None of that has been announced, but they are doing a technical alliance with McLaren, and McLaren shuffled up their some of their management a little bit. Ward is now the main director, and Tony Kanaan has a new title, race director, which is interesting, you know, rather than, you know, like some of these guys like Rick Mears and Dario have titles of, like, you know, driver coach or driver development specialist. His race director, right? Which, you know, that seems like a pretty lofty title for TK. Seems like a lot of administrative bullshit, but
yeah, I think just driver's coach should have been pretty straightforward because race director is usually not as far as I'm concerned, driver led. That's, or like race director. When I think of it as like race strat, it's just like your like your Mike Hall, for example.
Exactly. Yeah, that's kind of where I go with that. Like your lead strategist. I don't know if
Tim Cindric.
Tim Cindric, his title is president of Penske Racing.
Well, true, but 20 years ago, in particular, when he was more like calling the other shots before he became like a big figure for Penske as a whole.
More than 20 years ago, he's been president for at least 23 years. It was about 20. It was about the same time they started coming back to the 500. Cindric was made president.
I would have to match it after that 1999 season that they want to forget big time.
Yeah, that was that's when they wanted to just retool. They fired all the drivers, get rid of their chassis, got rid of Mercedes engine, got rid of Goodyear tires, and got the shit that works, right? So, other IndyCar news, it's really IMSA news. MSR is putting the brakes on their IMSA program for next year. They said they'll return in 25, just to focus more of their energy on their Indy program, which, if you've seen any IndyCar races last year, you know they desperately need it. I mean, with all the potential in the world between, Elio Castroneves and Simon Pagenaud in there. Of course, obviously Simon missed half the season with injury, but literally they were bottom feeding all year long. So
it's basically what we just talked about. Penske 99, they're hitting a reset button.
Yep. So and they've still got the alliance with Andretti. So all right, so that leaves us NHRA that I should have Lee here to talk about, right? Mm-hmm. So but I guess the big story coming out of the NHRA is Angie Smith was injured pretty badly on her pro stock bike. Evidently, she broke both of her feet in the accident. I didn't see any coverage of I didn't see a clip of the crash or anything, but from what I understand, the injuries are pretty bad, and she's broken both her feet. So
it took a pretty big tumble. It wasn't like the bike got sideways and then she flew yards, but once she landed pretty roughly, she just kept tumbling, like rolling down on a hill.
Yeah, that's why I don't drive motorcycles. You don't fall off your car.
Unless you're not wearing a seatbelt.
True.
That's why you wear your seatbelts, people.
All right, so but the NHRA, they were out at St. Louis for the Midwest Nationals, right?
I want to believe so, but it's not necessarily in my alley because I had hockey stuff to work on, so I didn't get to catch much of the NHRA stuff.
All right, so
other than
Clay Milliken
winning a week ago.
Clay Milliken won both Illinois races, right? In Top Fuel. And Matt Hagan tried to give Tony Stewart a nitro double. Yep, so Lee Pruitt has emerged as the biggest threat to Doug Kalitta in the NHRA countdown to the championship, as both eye the final 3 races of the season. So that's where we are. And again, I didn't see any of this. This is what I pay Lee to do, and he's not here. So we will get Lee on next week, and we'll catch you up with NHRA. So
I'm hoping Kalitta does pull it off because
that guy's been around the sport for a number of years. Yep.
Yeah, people forget he didn't start in drag racing. He was actually a USAC driver at the time period that Mike Bliss was also running in the 90s.
What was he running? You said it was like Silver Crown.
Yeah, sprint cars and all that stuff. That's the ones that Mike Bliss was driving. I think Tony Stewart was around. Hey, he had to, because considering Stewart won a Triple Crown.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So he's been around USAC forever, even.
And people never forget the run because how Schumacher won the championship, he had to fend off Doug Kalitta. He had to do all the so many things. It's a tale as old as time that he had to beat Melanie Troxel, set a track record, win the race to beat Kalitta for the championship in 2006, and he was able to get it done. You've seen it in the introduction with the run with Tony. So Kalitta has endured heartbreak, and after that, I felt like he's not been in the championship mix this serious, this late in a long time, probably since then.
It's been a while, yeah. That guy's been around a long time, so it'd be good to see him win this thing. So,
yeah, it'd be great, but you got a lot of racing to go.
Yeah, a lot of racing to go. So we got about 15 minutes left. So let's talk about the 2024 schedule for the Cup Series that was announced today. Some key changes on there. Where you got all the changes there in front of you. You want to go through it, or would you like me to go through it?
Let's go through from bottom to top of the series real quick. Trucks to Cup. For trucks, no dirt at Bristol. They only have one road course. That'll be COTA. So Mid-Ohio is gone. They're going back to Milwaukee. So that's the big changes for the truck series. Xfinity, they're coming back to Portland.
Is the truck race at Milwaukee? No, they're not sharing the bill with IndyCar, are they? They have their own weekend, don't they?
I don't think so. I haven't checked the Milwaukee.
Well, the IndyCar is a doubleheader at Milwaukee. Yeah. So they probably don't. Trucks probably got their own weekend.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. And also, the next schedule also came out. I haven't had its time to sit down. I'd imagine Milwaukee would have to be on there, too.
It is.
So,
It is. Yeah, Milwaukee's on the Indy next schedule.
Yeah, trucks will have to be shared with ARCA again. And then I think a week or two after or whatever, then the trucks, then IndyCar comes back on Labor Day weekend. But, yeah, for Xfinity, they're coming back to Portland. The Roval they're running the Indy Oval. They're running the Roval. Talladega will have 2 races again next year. But the biggest thing is the Cup Series. Oh, yeah, Iowa for Xfinity replaces Fontana on the calendar. So that's another big one. So for Cup, of course, Fontana is not on the calendar. Neither will be Road America is nowhere near to be found in any of the national touring schedules. They weren't there this year to begin with, but
yeah, I was going to say, I guess that was a failed experiment. I don't know, you know.
And people at Road America are mad about it. The people that I know that cover the races as a photographer at Road America frequently, they're not happy about that ordeal. But Cup,
yeah, I thought that NASCAR did okay with the attendance with the Cup race out there.
Yeah, they did well, but they decided, well, no, let's just. It got kicked to the curb. I think it was because in favor of Chicago.
Yeah, so, exactly. You're right. So those are reasonably close proximity.
Yeah, and
Chicago
bigger marker is what wins, unfortunately, for them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But as far as the Cup Series is concerned, of course, Fontana is gone. That in its place of the second round is Atlanta. Texas is now the spring date. Sonoma stays put in early June, thank goodness, because I did not want that to be moved into spring or as part of the West Coast swing, which is, I've been told by somebody who talked to a track employee, it'd be a nightmare for parking due to flooding and all that stuff.
Yeah. So you mentioned Atlanta's taking the early date, February 25th.
Mm-hmm.
That race could actually be snowed out. You know,
not out of the question. It's cold.
I remember one time in the 90s, it was like, I was living in Virginia at the time. I woke up, I said, oh man, all kind of snow. I don't have to go to work today. Right. Because my boss would call me, hey man, don't open the store. They had a lot of snow. I said, good, I'll just be able to just watch a NASCAR race. Then of course, you know, Atlanta not being that far from Virginia, turn on the TV. I said, oh yeah, makes sense. It's snowing in Atlanta too. So
yeah, I think it was supposed to be an ESPN or ABC race, and TNN picked up that one when it got rescheduled.
Yeah, I remember it well. Yep.
But yeah, then we look at the calendar. Furthermore, Indianapolis, the Brickyard 400 is back. That's been announced. Iowa is now part of the Cup schedule as a primetime race after Sonoma, which will kick off the NBC USA Network portion of the season.
What do you think about Cup cars at Iowa?
Long time coming for Rusty Wallace.
Yeah. I just really kind of wonder, is that gonna, because IndyCar fought pretty hard to get back on there, and that's
what I was going to head to next.
Yeah, paying NASCAR to rent a facility, and now Cup's going to go there, and likely dilute their fan base.
And Iowa lowered their ticket prices for the IndyCar races as well.
They had a lot of pushback this year on the cost of the tickets, but
mostly because they had Ed Sheeran who's breaking records in this tour. Not much Beyonce, Taylor Swift. People talk about those two breaking numbers. Ed Sheeran's breaking numbers.
But they had really good musical acts there. But if you were to look at those Iowa tickets, right, for bitching up a storm out of tickets at $300-400. I said, if you look, everything in that front, that middle part of the grandstand was expensive, because it's right across from where the stage is, right? Everything in turn 4 and turn 1, those tickets were $100, right? Which is pretty standard ticket to anything this day and age is about $100, right?
Yeah.
So that's really not that much. And Iowa's small enough a track, you can see all the way around the track from either side, So I don't understand why so many people were so upset. And they say, oh, this needs to be a race weekend and not a concert fest. I'm like, just shut up. Buy a $100 ticket, go to the race,
That's the way they're doing things to get people.
Exactly.
Like Chicago. I could give two you-know-whats about the Chase-Moster. I cannot stand them. Of course, Mother Nature impact that thing from happening.
Yeah.
That I get where they're going. I feel like for Iowa and IndyCar and Hy-Vee are done an excellent job as make it just a race fun and event itself. And I feel like the Clash could get there. They just need that top act. And I talked about it in my podium finish article.
Well, you're talking about the clash.
Yeah, the performance, like pre-race and after.
Yeah, so if they get somebody from like this decade.
Yeah,
because they've had who did they have last year? Like Wiz Khalifa.
Wiz Khalifa and Cypress Hill. The year before was Pitbull and Ice Cube. I felt like for this 2024, they got to go big. And I felt like I had to think. The problem is they have the Grammys again in the same day as the Clash, so that eliminates so many big acts because they're going to be front runners to the Grammys, like your Olivia Rodrigo's, your Ed Sheeran's, maybe all those big guys. So there, but fortunately, in my piece that you guys can check out on the .net, excuse me, or I'll share it in social media underneath the live stream. I talked about certain acts that are fit the bill, but that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about the Cup schedule. Clash is back in LA. That's already
back in LA. Yeah, we're going to go back to the Coliseum.
Yeah, Brickyard 400 is back too,
which will be a lot of folks are happy about that. Me, not as much because I am the odd kind of guy that enjoys the Indy Road Course, and I thought the Xfinity guys put on a pretty good show there, and the Cup guys put on a very laughable show the first year they went, and it just but it really enjoyable to watch. Really entertaining. Even if it was sloppy as all get out, but I do like the Indy Road Course.
Yeah, Fuji 8500 is back and pavement, so we have 2 pavement races at Bristol.
Yeah, that was a failed experiment. Yeah,
North Wilkesboro is back at the All-Star race, but as we get close to the season, to the end of the regular season, to the playoffs, Daytona is no longer the regular season finale.
Right, and
now Darlington.
Some people are losing their mind over the fact that Daytona is no longer the regular season finale, right?
I'm glad it's not. I'm actually happy that the Southern 500 is the regular season closure. It's a big it's one of your crown jewel races to end the regular season. You start the regular season with a crown jewel, end the regular season a crown jewel. It's actually something NASCAR did really well and done right, because Darlington has become an attrition race.
Yeah,
or car reliability is paramount. Imagine.
Yeah, but Darlington, unlike Daytona, is really a driver's track.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It favors the guys that can drive. Daytona, you can just get lucky and win that thing. Get in the right lane in the right draft, get pulled to the front while the other guys wreck out. I mean, look at your Derek Copes of the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm happy they put that on there. Is it a bummer that it's not in the playoffs? Yeah. But I think that's a good, excellent finale choice. Right. So what's in now? With Texas in the spring, Darlington no longer in the playoffs. So here's what has happened. Atlanta is now the playoff opener.
Yeah, so wasn't Atlanta down to 1 race for a while? They're back up to 2?
They went back to 2 once they reconfigured it to a super speedway.
Yeah. So they put on pretty good shows in Atlanta this day and age.
Yeah, and Watkins Glen is now a playoff race in early September, which I said immediately, we're gonna be dealing with rain throughout the playoffs for however long they want to have Watkins Glen in the playoffs. You never know with New York weather in September.
September, October is the rainy season in upstate New York. But again, they'll race in the rain on a road course. So,
I mean?
So,
but
which really it adds. If we have a rain race in the playoffs, it adds another level to the playoffs. You know what I mean?
This is true.
It ups the stakes to ensure that whoever wins that cup or whoever does well in the playoffs is a truly well-rounded driver. That's why I like, a Darlington being there to end the regular season. That's why I like a Watkins Glen in the playoffs. That's why I like a Roval in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, and the Roval will stay, unlike Dale Jr., and some people thought it wasn't going to come back, but it's back. I felt like, the Roval has its place. Some people like it, some people loathe it, but it has its place.
I like it. But again, that's me. I grew up watching road racing. Yeah. I grew up with my cars turning left and right. So
yeah, everything else in the playoffs is relatively the same, except for like Texas and Darlington being swapped up in favor of Watkins Glen and Atlanta.
All right, so that takes us right about to the end of our hour. So, interesting thing with the schedule, and you've already talked about the changes for Trucks and Xfinity. So I think that covers all of our topics for the week, and we'll get Lee on with us next week to kind of catch us up on NHRA. I do apologize about not having more of that at my fingertips, but it was kind of last minute when Lee let me know he wouldn't be available. So
one real quick thing.
Real quick, you got
Formula One championship could be decided in the sprint race at Qatar this weekend for Max Verstappen to go for 3 straight titles.
Okay, yeah. So, and would that surprise anybody?
No,
because the championship has been over for a couple of months.
No, this is true. I just had to mention Formula One real quick when it comes to Qatar.
Yeah,
that there are racing this weekend. But
all right, so who do you like? Who do you like for Qatar? We'll go ahead and make a pick. Max Verstappen? I'm going to take Max Verstappen. I think the guy wins a lot of races. And I'm going to take Lando Norris to finish second.
Something tells me Piastri will have a weekend that he'll never forget. He had one in Suzuka, but I feel like he's going to up. I would not be surprised if Piastri gets it done, or George Russell, but I'm more looking at Piastri being that guy.
Piastri being that guy. Okay. So anyway, all right. Thanks again to Forza Motorsport, Xbox, Luis Torres, Multimedia. Luis Torres, the man who's sitting here. Thank you to you as well. Thank you to Keith Hayes, our producer, Sinister One Productions, Hubazoo Radio Network. Thank you to the Ferrari Movie Alzheimer's Association, Facebook Live, YouTube, and Spotify. And thank you most of all to you folks who watched us tonight, and tune in next week, and we'll catch you up some more. Until then, good night.
Thanks for watching Drafting the Circuits. Make sure to follow Drafting the Circuits on Facebook, Spotify, Twitter, and YouTube. Drafting the Circuits is a Sinister One production.